there it is. That's quick. Call this meeting to order. Determined as a quorum present. We have Commissioner Wardlaw, Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Nettleton, Commissioner Flores, and myself. We have a quorum. Y'all will please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Commissioner Wardlaw, y'all will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Citizens' comments or approving minutes? I didn't know.
Second.
We didn't see none.
None? Okay.
But we're good. Under judges' comments?
None.
That was good. I hope that carries over, right?
Moving right along.
Yeah, last week was your birthday? Yeah, last week. Today is, Commissioner Wardlaw's. Mine's tomorrow, and yours is next week? In a couple of weeks. So, like, three of us are cancer.
Yeah, no wonder we can't get along.
Yeah. So, and if y'all will, we did this, last year, and if y'all don't mind, we'll do it again this year. We're gonna sing happy birthday to Commissioner Wardlaw. If y'all will please join. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Wardlaw. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Judge. You give me nightmares.
Yeah, there's one more deal before we get into our serious stuff here. We have, Carlos Velarde, last week, is that right, Carlos? Became a U.S. citizen, so congratulations. One of his employees upstairs said that he's no longer Carlos Arturo Velarde, now he's Charles Arthur. So, I thought that was funny, right?
He's forgotten all of his Spanish, Judge.
Yeah, as long as you don't forget his computer skills, we'll be all right. All right, sorry about that. Citizens' comments, do we have any? None? Okay. Approving, monthly reports from elected officials?
Move.
Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Approving bills for payment. Have a motion, Commissioner
Second.
Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 9, discussion possible action to approve the auditor's report.
Move.
Second. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Certification of revenue, tax associated accounts, hail damage, $62,449. Motion to approve, and they'll go into the special
revenue, hail damage.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 11, discussion possible action on following budget adjustments. E, tax assessor collector, $17,462 from the general capital outlay, tax office.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. F, tax assessor collector, transfer $177.60 cost applied to travel.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. County clerk, transfer $3,000 from office supplies to travel.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Wardlaw, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 12, no action needed. Item 13, discussion possible action to allow Laughlin, Youth Soccer Association to use Alcoa soccer fields and Alcoa Bay Blue Field for practices and games starting September through December 2023. Got a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second.
Second, Judge.
Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. We have, an item 14, discussion possible action on presentation of our financial advisor to fund capital projects, Senegas Road and other projects. And then, I think we got another one. Well, either one. That one right there, you're up. We had looked, was it last week, Commissioner,
Yes, sir.
at that project?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we had that at 6.5 million.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. For the record, my name is David Gonzalez, financial advisor with Bam.
Thank you.
As the judge mentioned, I know I've presented before you all.
It's not a good way to start.
I know we've gone over, a couple of different scenarios over the last several months, I believe, going back since April. So, what we have before you today is very similar to the numbers that have been presented in the past. If you open up the presentation behind tab 1, here we have a market update section. This is just to give you all an idea of what's happening with interest rates. As you all are probably aware, rates have been going up now for about a year or so. The Federal Reserve came out about a week ago saying that they're happier where inflation is, but they still want to raise rates more than likely about 2 more times this calendar year. So as far as interest rates, we're going to continue to see elevated interest rates for the next 6 months and possibly going into 2024. If you jump into section number 2, here it's the county financing update. So if you go to page number 9, which is the first page after the tab, this is a scenario for a full amount of $6.5 million. And I know you all have seen this spreadsheet before, but basically starting from the left to the right, we have the county's property values in column 2. In column 4, we have your outstanding debt service. In columns 5, 6, and 7, we sized a $6.5 million tax note with a 7-year term. In column 8, we have your total debt service, which is all of your existing debt service plus this 7-year note. And then in column 10, we have your net tax supported debt service. And then in column 11, we have your tax rate impact. So right now, because your property values have grown, you have some notes being paid off this year, you have an additional note being paid off, I believe, next year, your property values for this will stay the same. So in column 11, you're looking at keeping tax rates at exactly the same for a 7-year term. And again, here we're looking at a 4.8% interest rate on this one. If you jump over to the next page, page 10, this is a 10-year term. So everything stays the same in columns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Columns 5, 6, and 7, we're sizing it for $6.5 million, but over a 10-year term. Now, if you jump over to columns 11, we're looking at a 0.667, and then it slowly drops next year in 24 to 0.0626, and a 0.0573. So even with a 6.5 10-year note, you're still looking at a small decline there in your tax rate. And that's just because you're stretching out the debt a little longer. If you look in column 7 right here, the average for a 10-year is about $880,000. That's what you're looking at your annual payment there. If you turn over to the very next page, here it's the exact same thing, but in columns 5, 6, and 7, now you're doing a 12-year term. So you're going out a little longer on that one. If you jump over to column 11, we're looking at 0.0667 at your current tax rate, and then you see that small drop year after year after year. And then the last scenario that I was asked to put together for the court here, if you look at page number 12, this is a 15-year note. Columns 5, 6, and 7 are sizing this for 15 years. If you jump over to column 11, again, you're looking at 0.0667 to a 0.0597, 0.0510, and so on and so forth. The next page has a summary of what that means to the county as far as total principal and interest paid. So we have the categories on the left-hand side. You have your amortization, your dates, your true interest costs, par amounts. And again, these are preliminary. These are all preliminary rates. So we could be looking at something lower than a 4.8%. We could be looking at something higher than a 4.8%. But so just for that reference. And for number 7, if you look there, second column from the left, for the 7-year term, you're looking at a total principal and interest of 7.703253. For the 10-year term, right next to that, you're looking at a total principal and interest paid over the life, $8,309,139. And then you can see for columns 12 and 15, it's the same thing. You're looking at about 8.7 for a 12-year and a 9.4 for 15 for total principal and interest.
What's our current payment and the tax month is coming due this year?
477.
So you're gonna eat up the 470 plus the one, what is the library one?
6 something.
So you're gonna eat up both of those?
Well, we did a couple of calculations. Matt did one. We visited with Matt. My calculation, his calculation were off a little bit. He did a sheet that the state comptroller put out, but it's not the actual sheet for this year because the state comptroller's not put this one out yet. So if we worked with the old numbers, 0.46, our tax rate goes from 0.4672 or 27. Did he give you that number? Okay. I'm thinking the tax rate that he worked on, 4672? Yeah. 0.4672 is what I wrote on this one. What our tax rate is right now is 0.4977. So there's some pennies in there that you wouldn't have to raise the tax rate. You could make it pay more using the pennies because when you look, let's just go ahead and have the whole conversation.
You're gonna move out of M&O over to interest and sinking to cover the debt, and then are you gonna have enough in M&O to operate off of?
Your M&O, because
you're still gonna be short in M&O.
and that's how come I said, let's just go ahead and open up item 15, discussion and possible action on county budget 2023-2024. That what we're going to talk about. With the budget that we're trying to put together right now, we are $2,400,000 between revenue and income. So we've been over 2 million several times. We've been under 2 million. Is there enough fund balance to cover the $2.4 million? Yes, there is. There is 900, and we're going to have a conversation. With what everybody's turned in, and this will be part of this, the whole pie type deal. Mm-hmm. There's $964,616 worth of capital expenditures in the 2023-2024 budget. There's right at $1.2 million. Once you do fringe, another about $1.4 million in raises if you do the 1450 plus the 3.5% with fringe. So when you put all that together, we are $2,431,404 between expenses and revenue on the negative side. We have enough fund balance to cover it. But one of the things that you don't want to do is get in a habit of using your fund balance to cover your expenses. But you have $900 and some odd $1,000 that are capital expenditures that, if you don't want them the following year, we're back down to the 1.5 million that we usually have that we take from fund balance because we don't use all our fund. All the departments don't use all their funds. So with this budget, there was no capital expenditures. I didn't put any capital expenditures in there for any of the commissioners other than raises. I did not do any capital expenditures because there was still some ARPA money that is left that, and we will have that conversation here in a minute on special projects. Or we can have it during this budget, during this item 15. There is still some ARPA money left. That's some of your projects that needed to get done, some of your capital projects. And I looked over at Commissioner Vasquez right now because he's gonna need $250,000 to $300,000 to do concrete and the flood mitigation on Lawson. So when you're looking at pennies, there's a couple of ways of doing this. We either go borrow more money, which I'd rather not because you have ARPA money sitting there. So divide the ARPA money that's left to go do projects, go finish Alcoa Field, and then that pot of money is gone. But at the end of the day, there is pennies. Answer your question. You're right. There would be pennies moved from M&O and Road and Bridge over to interest and sinking. The problem is that you can't keep them in M&O and interest and sinking because we're only allowed to increase so much anyway. So those pennies would either go away or you borrow money for the pennies.
And what happens next year when you pay off the library?
Next year when you pay off the library, the conversation is going to be what is written in the bond covenants, and then your conversation is going to be is that when it went out for vote, that tax rate was only supposed to be used for the library, and I want it to go away. So even if we took away the pennies next year for the library, you would still have enough pennies in this one, dealing with what you have today, to make either one of the payments. When you look at the 0.4977 and reduce the 0.4672 from that, you still have about 3 pennies there. Each penny is going to generate about $346,091 at the 95% rate. And you stop me at any point. Those are pretty much round numbers. So
We're taking the tax notes that we've done every 7 years, or for the commissioners, for projects, equipment.
it's not going to be able to do it.
We're not going to be able to do them anymore. So there's not going to be any additional funding for the precincts or the fairgrounds or anything else when we issue this debt.
And that will be something that this court will decide on here in a minute, to move forward, not to move forward. If you issue the $6.4 million in debt, what we've usually done on the $2 million note, the 3.9 that we borrowed, the 4.3 that we borrowed, even the $6 million that we borrowed for SE Ranch, the ability for the county to be able to borrow more funds like what we've been doing over the last 12 years is not going to be possible, at least for about 4 or 5 years till we sort of catch up. And that's, yes. Yeah.
So we're blocking out everybody else's ability. And there's no other options to fund this project? Public improvement districts, TRIZs?
Yeah, in the discussion,
We had looked at a TRIZ or in order to form a district.
right,
And you'd come down the last time you were here to have that conversation.
right.
And at that time, everybody took off running.
The problem there, Judge, was that would include everybody in that area. And there's several, small ranches, residents there, you know. We wanted to target the industrial portion of that area. And, so at the end of the day, I mean, all the precincts, everybody is well equipped with new equipment. And it's gonna last many years. I mean, this project is much needed, like I've stated,
Let's do this.
to be a future road for that second bridge.
I guess just so we'll step off, because we're gonna keep talking about it. And if we're not gonna do it, then why don't we keep talking about it? Okay. So if y'all don't mind, with the payments that y'all were presented today, y'all were given 4 different options. Anywhere from a 600 to 1.2 million, anywhere from 600,000 to a $1.2 million payment, depending on years, either 7 to 15 years.
Correct.
So,
And we're positive that we can build this road for $6.5 million.
we have, Carlos,
Did we finish engineering? Finished design?
We're working on it.
I can tell you that.
You're guessing at numbers here.
All that's already locked in on the dollar amount.
It can't be
The
locked.
engineering, it is.
Not a problem, not a
The
problem.
construction dollar amounts are locked.
Well, not the construction, but the engineering.
Let's do this.
We can trim that
We have
project,
a-
if we need to trim it,
We
we can
have a
trim it.
preliminary number of $6.5 million. There was, and you stop me when I'm wrong, $387,000 was already put into this project to pay ourselves back, which we're not gonna do. There was another 600 and some odd thousand dollars, funded for contingency. Contingency was six something? 670 something? Okay. So contingency was 670 something. We had $387,000, that were gonna be paid back because the court had already set $387,000 for it. So there's right at $1 million, a little over $1 million, not much. That is between contingency and the 387, with the numbers that we've been given today that would help, support, there was a cost that was not figured in yet, which was the cost, from Old Senegas Road, when you turn there on Industrial Boulevard, let me go back. There's pipe that's gonna be laid almost from where the pins start, all alongside, the right-hand side of the road as you're going to Senegas, for drainage. But once you get to, Old Senegas Road, then from Old Senegas Road to Senegas Creek, there was no drainage figured yet. So the problem there was the issue that we talked about was to go in there and, versus putting pipe, try to purchase some land and then go in there and dig a ditch. And then dig a retention system, either about an acre or 2 acres, depending on the flow, not bigger than 2, but not smaller than 1, before we get into Senegas Creek. That way we don't create a problem for Senegas Creek. The $1 million that we had, either contingency or 387, would cover that, especially if Commissioner Flores would use some of his equipment to build a ditch, build a retention system. So actual final numbers, to say the 6.5 is the number, answer that question is no. Is the number really, really close? And do we have about $1 million there in contingency,
Well,
to
the
do
number's
it?
close by your guesstimate, but we've seen construction costs increase 30 to 40%. And as more and more contractors get busy with these infrastructure projects, those costs are gonna go up, and it's gonna be harder. We saw it on Santa, we've seen it on every single project we've done. You wanna do the project, I'm fine with the project. What I'm not fine with is issuing debt guessing on what the number's gonna be. That's what I have an issue with. If we go out for bids and the number comes in at 6.5, then we borrow 6.5 and go on with our lives. But if it comes in at 8, then it comes in at 8. You don't know that yet. We don't know that number.
No.
Every single project we've done over the last 3 years has cost us more money than we had anticipated. And it's not just us. We see it at TxDOT, we see it everywhere. All project costs have increased. These are guesstimates. You know, we didn't do the loop project until we knew exactly what the cost was, and then we issued the debt. I'm fine with doing the project, and I'm fine that we're gonna issue debt with it, but we don't know a number.
I can tell y'all that when we did Frontera, we had a $7 million, not arguing, but we're gonna throw both sides out.
No, I understand.
When we did, Frontera, we had a $7 million, first bid, $7 million first bid, went out for a rebid, and we ended up at 4.7. So there has been projects that have come in lower. Your statement is absolutely correct. We don't have a true number.
Well, no, I mean, they come in lower, but at the end of the day, we borrowed $2 million extra to finish the project from what we had. I mean, you can halfway one, 10,000 of another, it doesn't matter. You still had to go borrow $2 million to finish the project. If we're gonna do the project, fine, let's do the project. But we don't know the number. We're
Judge.
talking about borrowing money.
We can stick to the 6.5. At the end of the day, if the cost of construction goes over that amount, we can always trim that project to meet that dollar amount.
Okay.
You can't
So
cap
what
drainage.
you're saying though is that
stop praying for rain.
There's,
You know,
well, my deal is, if we do the 6, it's okay though, it's okay, I mean, we're here to discuss this, okay, so if we do the 6.5 million, and it's for the whole road, then what you're saying is that if we don't need to do from, just throw this
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
need to do from
trade.
industrial to
Yeah.
the duck pond, because it'll save $800,000 or $600,000.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, we could do that.
Stay within the 6.5 million.
There you go, yeah. Now, I mean, the whole idea is to have that road ready for that second bridge.
But
But if it's not possible to go all
But
the
you
way
have
over
to,
there.
you have
don't
to
have
take into consideration what he just said too, though. We don't want to borrow $6.5 million and then go hunt for $2 million more if it comes in.
Yeah.
But if the court is willing to move forward with a $6.5 million loan and try to keep whatever the project is within the $6.5 million, whether it means the drainage and just Senegas Road where it starts at the city of Del Rio and the county property line, and do as much as we can with the 6.5 million, because, and he just said it, when we do this, if we do the $6.5 million, we're not going to be able to go back to the well to go get more money for a couple of years.
What are we gonna do when he comes to us and needs an expansion on the jail? Cause it's coming.
Mhm. And in this budget right here for, again, we're gonna throw everything out. So if we do this project for the next 3 or 4 years, because of the cap that has been put on the counties, we will not be able to go borrow money like what we've been able to do over the last 12 years. It's that simple.
Commissioner Vasquez has a great project for a sports complex by the school. We're not gonna be able to fund that project.
We are waiting on, we sent a text last week. There was a $2 million that the federal government said that we were, that it was in appropriations. I guess the project got picked. It was sent to appropriations so they could figure out if they're gonna fund it or not.
No, I understand, but I mean, 2 million isn't gonna finish it. It's just, there's a lot of pieces. And we already know that we have to expand the jail. We already know that at some point we have to have a conversation about a judicial center. We also know that there's other projects that everybody needs. I'm not opposed to doing this project, that's not my issue. It's we don't have a solid number, and that's my biggest concern. If we wanna go borrow $6.5 million and hope we can make it work, then I guess we'll go borrow $6.5 million.
Well, you know, you've been pretty negative about the project in many different ways. You just don't want to admit that you don't want
I
the
have a lot of
project. Oh,
negativity
yes,
about it
you have.
For 15 years, you
You
didn't have
have.
maintenance on it, the road fell apart, and now we're gonna go borrow $6.5 million.
Well, it's like the park you're building. I mean, in 20 years, you've never built
Okay.
a park, now you're
All right,
building a
let's
park,
do
and you're
this.
trying to finish it.
And I don't mind the conversation like I've told y'all.
It's just that it's not, I mean,
Commissioner.
a lot of people have a tunnel vision, you know, they gotta
I
explain their
really
vision.
enjoy when we have this conversation here versus when we all leave and then we all talk shit about each other somewhere else. So
Well-
I'm enjoying the conversation that y'all are having right
Well-
now. Okay, I really am.
Let's put it to a vote.
I was getting
Right.
there, okay?
You got the votes.
I really do.
You got the votes, see? Come on. I have a vote, so you don't have to park, right?
It's okay. It's all right.
No, it's
Again, I
not.
enjoy-
It's just that, I mean, you know,
Because we're gonna take a vote and we're gonna move on. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. The court as a whole is going to figure this out. All right? I'm gonna tell y'all one more time. This project goes through. We won't be able to borrow money for a couple of years right off the bat, okay? Before you start
it's not like we borrow
talking-
money every year,
Yes, it's okay.
or every 2 years.
No, it's okay. I'm just letting y'all know. The $6.5 million, if we borrow the $6.5 million, if we move forward with this, we can't go back to the well to go borrow.
Yeah, no, we understand that. I mean, yeah.
I'm just trying to.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. And we've been doing very well buying equipment and getting ready for the next 10, 15 years with new equipment.
I opened this up also, with item 15 after the budget. We have some ARPA money that we all have projects that we will need to look at. not throwing rocks, okay? I think we need to go do your project. I think we need to stick to a dollar amount. Make sure that if it comes in over, that you adjust the project to the dollar amount. The other deal is, everybody has special projects that they want to go get done. Did you want to say something?
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Everybody has special projects that they want to go get done. There is some ARPA money still left. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. If we move forward with this project, this ARPA money that is left, I would appreciate it if y'all split it 4 ways with, fairgrounds, parks, and 3 commissioners. Okay, not trying to get you mad,
No, that's fine.
okay?
No,
And the reason I'm saying this is because,
that's more than fair. I mean, and you know, this project, it's a project that is much needed. I mean, this is the backbone to the industrial park, the road, Cienega. If there was some other road, I wouldn't even bother to bring it to the attention of the court, you know, and people that are for economic growth, I mean, should look at this, I mean, and not redo their vision when they look at the future, that one day this road will tie into that second bridge, period.
let's do this. There's been a presentation, by our financial advisor for a project, a $6.5 million project, that if we vote on it right now and it goes through, there's enough tax rate left after, with all our bills and everything, to make a payment, anywhere between the 652 and the $1.1 million. All right, or the, not the 1.1, but the 761, anywhere between 10 and 15 years. There is enough tax rate left over to make those payments. So, if we move forward with this right now, we'll take a vote. And we will have to set a meeting next week in order to move forward with this process. All right. So at this point, I would need a motion to move forward with the $6.5 million note. And then, bring it back with the understanding, and again, I'm not trying to scare y'all, but this will, tie our hands for at least 4 years.
Yeah, I want to take a motion to table it after the executive session. Can you do that?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion. If that's-
Okay.
Second.
All right. Get where I'm at. Commissioner Vasquez made a motion to table. Commissioner Wardlaw made the second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. You ain't got no place to be, do you?
Nope.
That's good.
I'm here for Valverde County today.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to item 16. Discussion possible action on City of Del Rio, Valverde County, Washington DC, trip. Had a call from our, individuals from the Madison group that they're trying to plan a group to go, or plan a meeting to go to Washington. I told them that I would put this on the agenda, see who wanted to go. The dates that they picked were September 11th, 18th, and 25th. I told them the 11th and the 25th did not work good because we have Commissioners Court those 2 weeks. So September the 18th of this year would be the date that I think a member of the court could go. I just didn't know, who would want to go. So is there any of y'all that might want to go? Or do y'all want to take some time to think about it and then let me know before the day's out who might want to go? So you want to take some time and then before the day's out, if y'all want to tell me who wants to go so I can send an email to the city. Okay? Thank y'all. Item 17, discussion possible action to approve an agreement for collection of taxes between the City of Del Rio and Valverde County. Okay. Got a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Carlos, if you want to come up, discussion number 18, discussion possible action on setting aside 25 acres from precinct 1 out of SC Ranch We've gone out to go look at it, had some conversations with, Commissioner Wardlaw, and there was two areas that Carlos, drew out. This one here, if you're coming in from the city of Del Rio this way, and you get on SL 79 to go back to 90, here's the one, this right here is two entrances, that are already built, that are there today. This one here is about 25 acres, on the west side. Look at me, right? On the west side, and here's 25 acres on the other side. There is power lines here, Commissioner, on this side that are already there. So I don't know, both areas sit outside of, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Both areas sit outside of the jailers.
Commissioner Whirl already made a decision on which one he wants.
I was there yesterday.
And there was that one on that side right there, not the other one.
This side?
Yes, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay. This one here.
Yes.
And it is precinct 1, option 2. So, he can go out there, if that's okay, then what he'll do is pin it and make that work.
Yes, sir.
I have
Thank you, Catalyst. Thank you, Judge.
No, thank you. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores. Did I hear a second?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. I'm gonna move item 22 up. Discussion possible action, finish construction of soccer field on Frontera Road. May consist of sprinkler system, grass, and, leveling. Money to come from available appropriations. This one here should have been put under my name, not Commissioner Flores' name. We've had, I guess the people from the soccer fields and everybody and their grandmother, calling, but bottom line is we need to get done. They need a place to play.
What's our cost gonna be?
$385,000, and the way that was figured is there's 279,500 square feet, and we took the $1.20 a foot that was figured, that we already had different bids on, and then we took another $50,000 for 4 inches of sand to be hauled, so it came out to $385,400.
Motion to approve that.
ARPA. And what we'll do with that one, when we come back after executive and we figure out where we're dividing it, that'll be the part that already comes out of it, and then y'all can divide the rest of it. Y'all okay with that? Yes.
Yeah.
Motion, Commissioner, Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 19, discussion possible action to accept donation from South Texas Food Bank for 2 2023 Hale Electric Pallet Jacks Model MTS3.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 20, discussion possible action to transfer existing library construction fund to precinct 2.
Motion to approve.
Before we get into this, there is $135,918.60 left in this fund. If y'all don't mind, if we can take out $12,500 and leave it in there for the biblioteca fund this next year, and then the balance, whatever that balance is after the 12.5, which would be about $123,418 to move over to your account. Motion? Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Melissa, did you get that? See, the 12.5, leave it out. All right. Item 21, discussion possible action receiving an update on Senegas Road, and I think we've already done that. If you okay?
We'll just table it and bring it back after executive session.
Motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 23, discussion possible action on concept plan showing a division of land near Del Rio, Texas, northeast of Laughlin Air Force Base for 34 lots ranging from 31 to 51 acres. Do you have a present?
Yes.
What is the name of this area?
This is a Sindamore
Oh,
ranch.
yeah, we could put Cinnamon on there?
Sindamore, yeah, well, that's Godless though. He's an American citizen now. Sindamore Ranch, this is the entrance. We visited with the individuals trying to subdivide it. We talked about, 40-foot wide roads, as roads will not be, county. Not, he doesn't want to give them to the county, nothing. But he talked about a 40-foot wide right-of-way. We asked him not to do that, to do a 50-foot wide right-of-way, that way in case they ever came back to the county, which is in your precinct.
Right.
If they ever came back to the county, then we would have to deal with the right-of-way not being wide enough. So he did say, well, it's gonna cost me whatever, he's gonna do it. This entrance right here is the main entrance to the Cindermore Ranch. This entrance right here on the corner, that entrance right there, he is going to push it in a little bit to where the trucks, when they come up, you don't park on the highway in order to get in. I think he's thinking right now that, this entrance.
Yes.
Can you see that, Dave?
Right here.
Where is this? Does this fall in,
It does not fall in J-Luce. We looked at it, but right there where his little things at is where that entrance right there. You'll have to deal with TxDOT. There's already an entrance there. He's gonna push it back, eat up more of his land in order to keep them off of the highway. All he wanted, was to see if the court had any other, questions before he moved forward with it. This is just preliminary, but he wanted to see if the court had any questions. Out of the J-Luce, 50-foot right-of-way, that only one entrance to the whole subdivision, and he will push that further in to get traffic off the road and have to deal with TxDOT.
is the city gonna allow
The
that? One
city,
entrance?
yeah, because of size of lots. We've already dealt with this.
And Mr. Carlos, I know it's preliminary, but all the subdivision rules are being followed and so on.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
We're gonna have the lots ranging from 30 to 51 acres, so
Okay.
they're
One of the concerns that he did have is because he didn't want to plant it. So we had a conversation with him, and for $1,200 damn dollars, it just didn't, yeah. So he did say, you're gonna cost me more money, ain't you? So, he will plat it. He will bring it back to us. His main concern was before he goes out here and just spends just a tub of money, if the county had any other concerns. I think that Carlos has covered everything.
I sent you some
Yes.
wording for the plats, for the roads, and the
Yeah, we
future
can
that
put it
we
in
don't
there.
accept. Make sure he gets those on there, that way he doesn't get.
Those won't be public roads, right,
No,
Judge?
sir. No, sir. He will he will leave the right of ways wide enough that if for some reason they ever come back and put it to county specs, the county has the right to approve or disapprove, the roads.
Are our subdivision rules 50 or 60 feet?
50.
Commissioner, do you have any questions?
No, everything's being followed. I had a conversation with Carlos over this other things.
Tom, any other questions?
No, sir.
Well, I guess we're good. Tell him that Commissioner's Court looked at them, looked like all the questions have been answered, and we'll just go from there.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
No, thank you. All right. Item 24, discussion possible action to authorize purchasing agent to advertise for competitive sealed bids on the following, commodities: road materials, base, flex base, oil, fuel.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 25, discussion possible action to ratify spectrum agreement for district attorneys. Authorize county judge to sign monthly service amount of $184.98 and to expense to be paid out of OLS.
Second, Judge.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. Everybody's okay with this one? See?
Yeah, preliminary to be,
All right. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 26, discussion possible act to award contract in the amount of $52,652.82 to LMC Corporation for the removal of existing elevator at the Fitzpatrick Building and for prepping the site for installation of new elevator services. Price through EZIQC by board contract number 660-21. The money is money that was already set aside and will within all those funds
Right.
with the elevator and the demolition.
yes.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 27, discussion possible action to award bid 23-12, 3/4 ton crew cab truck Ram Country in the amount of $65,208 and a budget adjustment for the amount from precinct 1's operating and precinct 1's capitalized. This bid is not the lowest bid per section, such as whatever.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 28, discussion possible action to select Oasis Water Playground as the vendor for a turnkey splash pad installation, RFP 23-4. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 29, discussion and possible action to solicit a request for proposal for the community center expansion located in precinct 4. Expansion. Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second, Commissioner Flores. This is the one that we were looking at somebody through the buy board. We couldn't get bids or anything, so now we're having to go out for bids again,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 30, discussion possible action to solicit request for proposals for the extension of precinct 4's shop building.
Motion to approve, Judge, just go through the process, the bidding process, Melissa, to see what we get.
Do y'all already have plans on this?
Carlos?
Do we have plans on this already?
Yeah.
Right now, but I have plans.
Okay. All right. When y'all gonna do this, it might be, are y'all doing, I'm having a hard time. Are y'all putting it all together on one bid, or are you gonna separate?
Well, like, we're to go out in one bid,
One bid?
but if not possible, I mean, we break it.
Well, I mean, why don't y'all break it, the concrete and then the building? That way you can get maybe somebody to, I would.
Under the 20,
I would
25,
do a complete project and then bid it out also the concrete and the building. That way, you know, if you don't get somebody bid the whole thing, maybe you get somebody bid pieces in order to put it together if you don't want it.
that sounds good.
Is that part of your motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, second,
Second,
accepts?
second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 31, discussion possible action to the purchase of 2024 John Deere F for 5075 utility tractor with a 520M loader in the amount of $57,678. Okay, a motion, Commissioner Vasquez.
You beat me there, Commissioner Vasquez. I was gonna make the motion and ask to be paid from ARPA money.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, just kidding.
No, thank you. So are you
Está
second?
ganando los
Are you
motions.
second? Are you gonna second?
Yeah, I'm gonna second.
Okay. I have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 32, discussion possible action for approval to declare the following items as surplus property and
What are they?
they're in there.
Let's see here, what we got.
Second, okay. File cabinet, a laser printer, secretary chair, a scanner, portable ACs, and some stampers.
Okay, yeah, sorry, thank you.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 33, discussion possible action on approving a lease between Valverde County and Border Pit Battle 3. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 34, discussion possible action authorizing Sheriff Joe Frank Martinez to transfer $2,279.04 from operating line item for reserve line item.
2,100. You said
Says
200.
$2,179.
Yeah, you said two.
Transfer money out of reserves into something?
So we transferred, initially we transferred 15,000 out of reserves into the operating to purchase some weapons. So the difference I'm gonna transfer back. We're not gonna use that, but we,
Motion to approve.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 35, discussion possible action for authorization to apply for and accept. Sir? Commissioner Nettleton, motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. Item 36, discussion possible action requesting authorization to apply for and accept.
Second, Judge.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. And this one here is the one we're gonna call it, you're gonna call a meeting,
Yes,
right?
yes, I believe it's next week, Judge.
Next week?
Yes.
I have a deal on Tuesday. I have a hearing in the morning. She just reminded me when I left. Tuesday
Okay.
morning. Item 37, all in favor, I'm sorry. Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. 37, item 37, discussion possible action on requesting issuance. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 38, discussion possible action. Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 39, closed session consultation pursuant to Texas Government Code 8551.071, parentheses, attorney-client privilege, C551.071, parentheses, 1, parentheses, A, contemplated litigation, C551.072, regarding purchase, exchange, lease, and value of real property and possible action in open session thereafter, D551.073, regarding a negotiated contract, lease, and value of real property and possible action in open session thereafter, E551.076, regarding security device, security, audits, and/or security personnel. Y'all will give us some room, please. We'll take about a 5-minute break, and then come back for executive session. That light, not this light.
Waiting a long time.
And I was gonna say that, but I appreciate you saying it, though. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
The light's on. We had tabled a couple of items, just come out of executive session, no action was taken. There was a couple actions, tabled. Those items will be brought back at our regular meeting in a couple of weeks. There was only a couple items tabled. I think everything else we took care of. We do have a meeting this afternoon at 6 o'clock for the Second International discussion of possible action on the Second International Bridge. It will be held, at 400 Pecan, which is the main courthouse on the second floor. There will be signs outside, yellow and black signs. But I paid for them. They show meeting and an arrow. But either way, I appreciate the court. Happy birthday to everybody that just had a birthday. Happy birthday to those that are coming in a couple of weeks. Commissioner, I'm glad you made it to another year.
Happy birthday to you, Judge.
That just made my
Hope you
day.
make it tomorrow. Through the night.
Through now. One more day. Here we go. We'll see how it goes tonight.
Yeah.
Commissioners' comments? Is there any? Judges' comments? I have none. We'll see y'all tonight, again, at 6 o'clock. This meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all.